I'm a potter. That's what I do. That's the centralizing focus. People often don't understand how much they know about it. You know, there's all this sort of stuff that is because of the commonness of pottery, the prosaic kind of everyday quality, that we know a whole lot more about it than we consciously know about it. And so for somebody like me, it makes sort of a fertile seedbed to play in. I actually have a long attraction and background in Asian aesthetics, particularly Japanese, which means that I was sort of raised interested in tea bowls and the whole tea ceremony and all that. Well, that's not part of my life. So what's that mean in terms of my life? What's it mean in terms of daily life? You know, one of my favorite things to make is cups. And the reason is because they are always interacted with. In order to exist, in order to fulfill their purpose, you have to pick it up. You can look at a 1900 BC Minoan cup and it looks just like it was made today. You know, I mean, it's sort of a mission in a way, because there's all this great aesthetic pottery, ceramic work from the past that deals with the needs of the past. I run around with a cup of coffee often, spilling it all over the place. So I think, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved. You know, a travel mug that is aesthetically pleasing, functions well, and you don't have movable parts that you can lose. That's a problem. What's that sort of utilitarian need look like when it's fulfilled in an aesthetic way? My goal is how the thing feels when you go to use it. Had the option of moving to Texas or Rhode Island, and I opted for Rhode Island. I actually have ancestry that dates back to Stephen Hopkins here in Rhode Island. I grew up out in Seattle. I'm a coastal kind of guy. I grew up sailing and I thought, the ocean state, I could go sailing. I teach at RISD. I teach ceramics. I've been in the ceramic department since '84. I began as the technician straight out of graduate school and eventually ran the department for about 25 years. You know, it's interesting because I take students to Japan sometimes, and one of the place we go in Japan, there's access to clay from 3 different of the 6 so-called ancient kilns of Japan. One of the things that I try and point out to the students is the aesthetics involved have to do actually with the geology of the clay. You know, it's different clay, so the result, you can make exactly the same thing and the look is different. The way the material chemistry of the process feeds the result is what I'm interested in. It's, you know, whereas if I was a ceramic engineer, I probably wouldn't care about the result too much. The result would be in the process of the study of it rather than the thing that's the outcome. I realized that notion of working with students and assisting them in finding success and things like that is my work. That is my personal work, and it's expanded lately more consciously, although I've done it for a long time, and that's work with other artists to execute work that they're interested in. Between undergraduate and graduate school, I spent 9 years building houses. The other thing I did, besides building houses, was build kilns. I traveled around the country building kilns for people, particularly wood kilns. Ever since I've been here, people have asked, well, why don't you build a wood kiln? Wood firing. It's sort of like the fly fishing of firing, because it takes the the finesse and understanding and things like that that firing a gas or electric kiln doesn't. And we've gone into collaboration with the steel yard and put a wood kiln over there. We've put it in a shipping container. And this is the part that I actually love the most, is that we have a shipping container from China that's inexpensive because we don't have anything to ship back to China. We've put an Asian-style kiln on it with a pagoda-type shaped cupola on top of it. And I think that's pretty much like the coolest. So, we have yet to see how it works. We'll find out shortly. Really, when it comes down to it, it's when I'm really successful, I can't believe that I actually did it. Part of it is the distancing that happens when you put something in a kiln and you get it out and it's transformed into a whole different thing. It has the potential of having a presence that's separate from me. You want to be able to do it on call, you know, whenever you want. Do that little transcendent trick without, without having to think about it too much. Lately, I've been doing painted plates and things like that, where I've been more directly involved in controlling the outcome. And the plates I fire 10, 12 times sometimes to get the colors to shift just right. I keep firing to find that place where it goes beyond what I put into it, or I have that sense that it does, even though I know full well it doesn't. It's exactly what I did. You know, a lot of times people think ceramics is very chancy, you know, especially people who've never done it before or haven't gone very far in it. They think it's a random shot. It's not. You know, it's all actually knowable. It's that the variables are complex. That sort of complexity that's involved that you almost don't have control over. Also, the technical interest has to try and capture the knowledge to be able to reproduce. Sometimes you've made the moves just right, and it has that kind of glow to it that is, you know, you feel like it's out of your hands. You know, I don't even really like the term artist so much. It's just you think, try and think broadly and keep an open mind, solve problems as they come in a creative fashion. And so it's more of a being, you know, trying to be a, you know, creative, lively person than being an artist per se, whatever, you know, because that's an undefinable. The notion of working in sort of a vernacular zone I find really attractive. So that, because ultimately in art making, to me, it's about a conversation. It's about a connection somehow. That's why I prefer, you know, the utilitarian to a more sculptural approach, because it provides the common ground.